An important visual element in this body of work is my use of the portal. To me, it symbolizes this idea of us being able to pass through different stages of our lives. It's a way to think of transformation. And so when I create this shape, I want the viewer to imagine themselves transporting through this from one space to another psychically, and to allow themselves to imagine possibility and a future that is full of potential. One of the things that is really important to me is that the viewer can spend a lot of time with these works. They're very layered, and there's a lot of subtle coloration changes in the surface, as well as these crater formations. And many surprises will kind of emerge as you spend more time with it. So some of these pockets really open up, and there's craters within craters. And so I really want someone to feel like they're going on a journey with the work. And even if they spend a ton of time with it, every time you revisit it, new things will emerge into creating it a very mysterious and alchemic form. As I think about time and transformation, it's very interesting to me how that is replicated in my processes when I'm making the work. So I'm using specific glazes that actually expand and transform in the kiln while I'm working. And so conceptually, the works are talking about time, but these are actually transforming in response to time in the kiln. And so they actually change shape through expansion. And then there is a running of the glaze that to me really keeps these objects alive, because they truly expand in ways that aren't always controlled by me. There are a lot of elements that are incredibly controlled. So all of these drip formations, I'm individually sculpting and attaching on here, but these larger rock formations have more movement in them. And it's really important to me that when they come out from the kiln, they are surprises. I also use elements such as gold luster. So this is 24 karat gold that is on the surface of my piece, and having that in contrast with this gritty lava glaze, to me, talks about beauty, it talks about value. And then there's also this element where I've got the luster, which reflects light and puts it out into the world. And then on many of the pieces, I'm also using a black flock, which absorbs light. And so thinking about this psychic transformation, thinking about our inner light and putting that out into the world, versus elements with the black flock, which are actually absorbing light. And so thinking about those as metaphors for our emotional and psychic states. This piece, the in-between, is distinctly different from a lot of the other works in the show through my use of the prism or fractal form. So I really wanted to create something that was metamorphosis. And so it looks like it's actually changing. And so this is breaking down to almost its crystalline or fractal state. And so things are happening, all of the connections are fluid, but it is about to change into something else. And so that's something I always want to have in my work, where it's transforming actually in movement, in a state in between one thing and another. This piece, Haunted, has some unique elements to it. For one, it features a platinum luster on it, which is a really unique surface and hard to find. And it's a weeping platinum, so it has this really beautiful variegation in it. The piece is called Haunted, and this idea of memory, which is something I think about in the work as I've referenced time. And so memory is one of those things, in nostalgia. And there's some really nice visual elements in this in terms of callbacks between these orange spikes and the coloration of the glaze. The title of this piece, Fernification, is a term that talks about when snow becomes neve. And neve is snow that is melted just a little bit and then frozen, which is a magical term. And I like to think about weather a lot in these works, because weather gives you a feeling of the sublime. To me, it's almost a religious experience where I feel outside of myself and I feel like I'm engaged with the greater world. The largest work in the show, Devouring a Star, actually takes the black hole form and puts it up on the wall so you can visualize yourself in space. And so I really wanted this to be a portal that you could look very directly through. It's on the scale of the body. The title of the show is Are You Okay in the Dark? So it's about this unknown. And this piece captures some of that, where you're really looking towards the future and the unknown, and you're embracing that.